It's a new day on the Defiant, and we're celebrating a successful mission. The post-combat tradition involves some booze Eggnog managed to acquire, and stacking a used power cell against the wall as a record of how much pooping we've done at other ships. Admiral Ross pops in to nick Sisko as there's more stuff that needs kabooming. A hidden sensor installation has been discovered, one responsible for the Dominion knowing what we're up to ahead of time. Sisko is tasked with turning it into debris. Conflict is the order of the day on Terok Nor as well. Damar Dawson Biggs has lost a tablet, and a potentially problematic one, as it contained a suggestion to poison the Jem'Hadar's last batch of Ketracel White if they can't get any more. Unsurprising that he couldn't find it, as Rom, the underappreciated brother, placed it at the door of the Jem'Hadar after he stole it. The resulting difference of opinion becomes very unpleasant indeed, especially for the dead people. All of which is a political problem for Seagull Dukat and Fifth Uncle Wayoon the Creepy. Animosity between Cardigan and Jem'Hadar is on the rise, and it's their job to stop it from boiling over. Fifth Uncle Wayoon has everybody involved confined to quarters until the investigation decides who it would be most useful to blame. Odo's not impressed. He knew this was an idea bandied around at their last resistance meeting, one which now includes Jake, by the way, but was of the impression his decision of it being too risky was the last word on the matter. The problem, thinks Kira, is that Odo being on the station ruling council has him concerned with keeping order, an observation he takes as a comment on his loyalties. Kira's denying this when Odetta walks in. After Kira leaves, once Odo assures her he'll be fine, it's time for a chat. Odetta here was on our side of the wormhole when Sisko shat a load of mines in front of it, and she says she wants the company of another changeling. Lucky then that he's got his abilities back, as the Founders locked them off the last time he saw them, but she now says they forgive him for what they believe he did. Odo's less inclined to move past it all, not least of which because of the ongoing war, though Odetta still tries to convince him this isn't where he belongs. That's why she wants to spend some time with him and try to make him understand who and what he truly is. Sisko's got a plan for how to kaboom that spy station, one that involves some tricky flying, but he won't get to see it. Admiral Ross needs a new adjutant, and he's it. Ross has liked Sisko's handling of strategy, so Dax is left in command of the Defiant, while Sisko works on more strategic stuff. It's technically a promotion, but Sisko doesn't look too chuffed about developments. Back on Terok Nor, Odetta is interrupting a meeting of the ruling council. A formal welcome from Seagull Dukat is cut off mid-sentence by her asking why the minefield still exists. That gives Seagull Dukat and Fifth Uncle Wayoon the Creepy a chance to bicker before Odetta tires of it all and they bugger off. She's really here to see Odo, and him saying he's off to his quarters to work has her asking to walk with him. That becomes a home visit and a chat about his change of attitude since visiting their homeworld, these quarters now containing items that he mimics to understand them, rather than normal furniture. The old topic of him coming home to be part of the Link is the inevitable next step, and covers Kira being a significant part of the reason why he won't. For his part, Odo admits that his feelings for Kira are a vulnerability that he sometimes wishes he could remove. Odetta can't delete the thoughts, but she can give what she calls clarity, and begins to link with him. Kira finds him there some time later after Odetta has departed. She's concerned when she learns Odo linked with Odetta, though not because of the resistance. Odetta's been a proper arsehole about manipulating Odo for as long as they've known each other, up to and including pretending to be Kira. Odo doesn't think that's what she's doing this time, believing this is about teaching him who he is. He even thinks linking might make her understand about the Alpha Quadrant and how the people here aren't a threat. Well, most of them. That still sounds too dangerous to Kira, and she makes Odo promise that he won't link again until the war is resolved. That war could go one of two ways in the very near future. Dax is off to take care of that spying installation without Sisko, while Damar Dawson Biggs is visiting Quark's. He's celebrating his new promotion, which is a curious turn of events given how pissed off Seagull Dukat was with him earlier. That's because Damar Dawson Biggs found a way to make it up to him, and it's something big enough to affect everybody else as well. We're having a meeting of the Bajoran Resistance 2, Dominion Boogaloo, when Quark interrupts proceedings. By guile, charm, and significant application of booze, he was able to learn how Damar Dawson Biggs managed to get back in Seagull Ducat's good books. In short, he's found a way to destroy the minefield. We try to sober Quark up for more information and get the word deflector out of him, which is enough for Rom, the underappreciated brother, to figure out how they can do a science to it and make it stop the mines from replicating. All of which means we need to stop the deflector array from working. The good news is it's possible. The bad news is that the conduit in question is secure and rigged with alarms. Alarms are a security measure, though, and we've got the Chief of Security, so at 8 a.m. tomorrow, he'll run a diagnostic, which will also, just coincidentally, take them offline. All we can do till then is wait, which is something Sisko's struggling with as well while the Defiant is away. He plans to wait up for news, though Admiral Ross warns him that's not a wise choice. The Defiant will be seeing plenty of action without him, so he should adapt to it being away sooner rather than later. Back on Terok Nor, Odo's not just waiting for the morning either, and is instead spending the time with Odetta. He has many questions to ask, and declines Odetta's offer to link with him to share the answers, saying the act is overwhelming for him. The problem, she says, is there are concepts for which words would provide only very crude explanations, and they must link for full enlightenment. An admission that he promised Kira he wouldn't is pushed aside. She's only a solid after all. What do the matters of changelings have to do with her? It's the following morning, and Rom, the underappreciated brother, is getting ready to do a bit of the old sabotage. Kira double-checks he understands the plan, then sends him into the station's gubbins to wait for 8 a.m. Off to Odo's office we go to check everything's running smoothly. Him not being there is a touch concerning, and the fact she can't contact him even more so. Still, at least Kira's got a minute to call and cancel the sabotage. Or not, as Damar Dawson Biggs takes the opportunity to waylay her. She tells him to piss off, but not quickly enough to stop Rom from opening the alarmed door. Scarpering ensues, which might have been slightly more effective had it not been directly towards Damar Dawson Biggs. The Defiant is back after a successful mission, and the crew are indulging in their traditions. Those traditions don't include Admiral Ross or Sisko, though, an experience clearly missed by the latter as they leave the celebration. Their success is the opposite of the situation on Terok Nor, and Kira's full of piss and vinegar at Odo. Rom, the underappreciated brother, being in a cell is bad enough, but if Damar Dawson Biggs is right, not breaking the deflector means we basically just lost the war. Odo doesn't care. He was experiencing the link, and now he's managed to grasp what that truly means. The rest of this doesn't matter. Kira can never truly understand because she's not a changeling. Odetta comes out of the other room after Kira's left to see if Odo's all right. He's a little surprised to find he's fine, though, so we'll leave Odo to continue experiencing what he was always meant to be, until the next adventure. The Dominion War plods along some more, but things are coming to a head one way or another. The Federation is striking at key infrastructure as supplies of Ketracel White diminish, all while the minefield, preventing them from being completely swept away by a tide of Jem'Hadar, is under threat. All of this is secondary to the real plot of the story, though, Emperor Odetta's attempts to turn Anakin Odo into a Sith Lord. Can I do that?
Steve? It won't upset anybody if I mention wars in a Trek video, will it? No?
Okay, cool. Yeah, Steve says it's fine and nobody on the internet will be weird about it. Anywho, bringing Odo back into the fold has been Odetta's goal for as long as we've known her. She's tried reasoning and bargaining, she's tried lies and subterfuge, and now she's trying... well, there's some debate over what she's trying this time. There are those who consider it seduction, the act of linking being analogous to sex. Personally, I think that's an oversimplification of what's actually happening here. We know that the act of linking can have a sexual aspect to it, but that doesn't mean all linking is inherently sexual. Hugging someone doesn't mean you want to jump them just because holding a person is also associated with intimacy. Now, that's not to say Odetta isn't also doing this, but it's not the only part, or even necessarily the main part. Odo's desire to understand himself has been a thread since the pilot episode, so knowledge about his people is a far better tool to snare him than having the goopy jollies with him, or at least using those goopy jollies alone. And when you think about it, that's a great way to introduce propaganda, too. Receiving factual data about your species puts you in a receptive state of mind, all the better to colour such information transfer with how the founders view things. She might not even know that's what she's doing, such beliefs of fundamental separation between changeling and solid being an inherent part of her persona. Or perhaps their persona is more accurate. She uses the metaphor of water to explain changelings being both one and many. Does that give us insight into what's happening with Odo here, the blending of self until he considers the thoughts of Odetta and the other founders to be his own? Does each drop added to the ocean become part of the dilution so that, even when it's removed, the fundamental aspect of that drop has changed, like a drop of fresh water being added to the ocean and coming away salty afterwards? You may have realized such a metaphor is not unique in Trek. We could apply the same idea to the Borg, an assimilated drone becoming part of the ocean and, even when freed, still carrying the contaminants of that thinking. Does separation from the Great Link have the same result, with individuality slowly reasserting itself based on how long they were joined? Odetta still being a dick suggests not, but then not all voices in a choir sing with the same volume. That she was the first drop we met may be indicative of something. Do the founders have a queen? Let's bring this back to how it affects Odo, though. Is Odetta contaminating, or perhaps in her opinion purifying, the drop that is Odo? Kira's comment about the link being a great way to manipulate a person is apt. To share feelings and perspectives so deeply that the other person feels them too is not an effect that immediately ceases to have any hold once they separate. Still, considering those things when you're an individual entity again would likely have a significant impact on you, especially when the experience is relatively new. I've read some thoughts on this which liken the act of linking to a drug or addiction, and I'd agree with that conclusion. Post-high makes more sense than post-coital when considering Odo's actions, a feeling less of intimacy than introspection, and one whilst still under the influence. We'll be talking about this for a couple more episodes yet, so let's leave it there for now, and finish up with a look at Quark realizing he doesn't care for the current situation. An initial opinion about the Dominion presence not being as bad as during the Cardigan occupation has soured, and he wants things back the way they were with the Federation. You could consider this a reaffirming of his ethics, a realization that the illusion of freedom is not enough. It is that, yes, but it all still ties into the game as well, though, that need to engage in his particular flavour of bastardry. The Jem'Hadar have no interest in any of his sales or swindles, so half the people on the station are a complete non-starter. The others are just straight-up dicks to him, a sharp change of environment after 5 years of mostly pleasant interaction. Well, the problem isn't just their attitude, it's also that the Cardigans would likely cut his throat if he tried even half the shit he was pulling before. A balance of risk and reward is one thing, but the threat of a spacewalk without a suit for a bit of the old smuggling is quite another. He can't even just bribe them anymore like he would have done during the occupation, what with Dominion eyes likely being opposed to such disorderly arrangements. The Federation are a different proposition, though. Not only are we friendly for the most part, that cloying root beer attitude of ours, but we also plug in neatly to his particular variant of the acquisition game. We're the double whammy of allowing him to engage with shady shit up to a point, and being great targets ourselves. His game involves taking from others, just like the average Ferengi, but he's always had a problem with causing or contributing to harm, at least in direct connection to it. And that makes the Federation perfect for him because, no matter how much he takes, all of his marks are still from a society where their basic needs are catered to. There are no real victims here beyond harm to their pride, and that leaves him free to see how far he can take things without worrying about the repercussions. All of which is to say that when we consider Quark's decision to turn informant here, it's not simply a case of him making a moral decision. On some level, Quark understands that we're simply better for how he wants to live his life. That doesn't make him wrong, and it is still ultimately based on his ethical bedrock. It just reminds us that not all morally correct choices have to come from a place of personal sacrifice, and it's okay to help yourself along with everybody else. End of episode.
Are we still in here? Christ on a bike.
What happened to the subservience? He's still in charge, you know.
No, I've had enough of that bollocks.
He's an hack.
Are you trying to get us killed?
He wouldn't dare.
He's been doing these for years now, so we're in full-on sunk cost fallacy land.
You don't know that. Maybe what's coming next is a visual extravaganza, and he's been using the time to prepare.
I mean, the evidence to date don't suggest so.
Looks like we're about to find out.
I'm telling you, he'll half-arse it.
Shut up.
Oh, oh look, a generic background with a pixel filter over us.
What a masterful gambit, sir.
And one nobody could have predicted. Woof.